So, to celebrate the release of Transformers Earthspark, I've been telling you something very interesting. As I noticed that there's something interesting about what I really saw. Well, to celebrate the release of the brand new Transformers Earthspark cartoon show, I'll be doing an evolution of the Transformers animated series. I'll rank them by my personal favourites. The original Transformers, which ran from 1984 to 1987, is one of my favourite Saturday morning cartoons growing up, where it depicts a war among giant robots that transform into vehicles and animals, including different objects. Well, I noticed that both Peter Cullen and Frank Welker were involved in it. It was kinda awesome that it ran for a total of 4 seasons and 98 episodes. I love this one. Now we're focusing Beast Wars. In Transformers Beast Wars, but in Quebec, Canada, it was called Beasties Transformers. It ran from, well, the plot is very different to Transformers, although the descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons, better known as the Maximals and Predacons, not including Starscream and Bumblebee, who were absent from appearing in Beast Wars, I noticed that the cartoon is one of my favorites growing up, where, the plot involves around Megatron, who is reimagined as a Barney ripoff, and Optimus Prime was reimagined as a King Kong ripoff. We also had some XPs like Cheetor, who is an XP of Cheddar Cheetah, and Rat Trap, who is an XP of Jerry the Mouse from Tom and Jerry. Although we had Dinobot, who is a new character created for this cartoon, it was kind of interesting. I enjoyed this one. And there was a sequel called Beast Machine Transformers, which evolved around their victory in Beast Wars, surviving Maximals. Optimus, Primal, Cheetor, Black Arachnia, and Rat Trap have realized that Cybertron has been banished because the miners Vehicons have already taken control of their planet. But their old enemy Megatron has broke free from Cybertron before he returned to Cybertron before them, because thanks to the help of Rhinox and Silverbot. Thanks to Silverbot and Rhinox's quick thinking, it was awesome. Like its sequel, it ran from a total of 2 seasons and 26 episodes from 1999 to 2000. Now, moving on is the 2002 Transformers Armada. It was such an awesome show that the previous anime, titled Transformers Robots in Disguise 2000, ran from Japan from 2000, but for the USA dub, it ran from 2001 to 2002, which was awesome. And also, in Energon, it was very interesting because in Energon, it involves around the primary gimmicks of a brand new video combining the partners of their same size. But one of their abilities would use their powered up forms from the addition of Energon induced weapons. It's very interesting to put the mini-cons in it, even though it functions like a typical Toy Story situation. Although the typically creative Cybertron, which is the last installment in the series, was very creative, which involves around a black hole and everyone got evacuated to the real world for themselves. Although, like its predecessor, it ran from only a year from 2005 in 52 episodes. For Energon, it did the same thing for 2004 with 51 episodes. Now, speaking of that, well, we did get Transformers Animated, because that will be an exclusive to be involved in my Transformers Evolution retrospective. Well, Transformers Animated, which ran from 2007 to 2009, had a total of 42 episodes on a span of 3 seasons. That was the only one to be on Cartoon Network. Although, I'm guessing it was the first to be made by Cartoon Network. Although it takes place in an out-to-date continuity, Whenever they roll out, I noticed the legendary Allspark was buried on an asteroid, and when they got sent to Detroit, they have to defend the depot of Detroit from a monster that would turn them into becoming local celebrities. Wait a minute! Local celebrities? You don't see robots becoming like that! What do I have to think of this whole Transformers animated idea? That reminds me of that one episode called Voltron, the one where Rick and his family members make a Voltron mafia of using these Transformers-styled ferrets to pretty much combining Voltron with the mafia. Sounds like a fun idea. That reminds me of that time I saw Voltron Legendary Defender back in 2016. That was my first jump to Netflix. Now, where was I? Now, speaking of that, we had Transformers Prime. I enjoyed Transformers Prime because it was a great show, and it ran for 3 seasons and 65 episodes, and it was a darker and lot more edgier take on combining the science fiction thriller genre with the superhero genre. I loved it. But Rescue Bots? All I can say is it's not that good. I know the Decepticons were absent for a period in Rescue Bots. I noticed there was no antagonist. It's boring. There's no Megatron, no Starscream, and that's really bad. I know it only ran for 4 seasons and 104 episodes from 2012 to 2016. That was not good. But in Robots in Disguise 2015, I just didn't like it because I'm thinking it ran from 2015 to 2017. As I know that why would the Transformers team up with a peacekeeping police officer? That doesn't make sense. Well, speaking of that doesn't make sense, we're going to move on to Transformers Cyberverse. As I know, Transformers Cyberverse, before we had that, we had War for Cybertron. War for Cybertron, I know it was first announced in 2018, but Cyberverse would come along. Throughout the first time, Cyberverse was basically just a bland idea to give Megatron to become the president of Cybertron. And it escalated to a civil war that only ran for 4 seasons and 64 episodes from 2018 to 2021. That was bland, but War for Cybertron Trilogy is not good. It's not that great, but it only ran from 2020 to 2021. And for BotBots, I just didn't like it. I just didn't care for it. Yeah. And now, just because I learned that Combiner Wars wasn't that great, since I find it too scarier, Titans Return was a bit awful, and Power of the Primes is a bit too bland. I know the whole Primeware trilogy, it ran from, let me just say, it ran from 2016 to, let me just say, 2018. Let me just count. 10 plus 10 plus 8. That makes a total 28 episodes on 3 seasons. That's a bit too bland. We also had an animated movie called Predacons Rising, which I didn't like this type of... I know I like this movie, which is awesome. I know I love the movie because it was really cool, and it was a satisfying conclusion to the 2 Prime series. I know the Prime series only had 68 episodes. This one is a grand finale to it. But in the brand new Earthspark, I'd love to see Earthspark because the way I see the CGI animation, it's like an anime-esque attempt at combining the Dragon Prince with Intergalactic and Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. And I'm actually liking the casting. I know the casting is quite diverse in my opinion. Well, thanks to breaking old trends, I noticed that at the end of the Civil War between the Autobots and the Decepticons, The Malta family moves from Philadelphia to the small town of Witwicky, Pennsylvania. But Robbie and Mo witness the birth of a new breed of Transformers called the Terrans, who fall born with the two and be adopted into their family. And the Terrans work with the children to protect their new life, and they find their place into the city of Philadelphia. I know this brand new Paramount Plus series is awesome because it looks kind of interesting to have so many actors and actresses appearing, like Danny Puddy from Community, Alan Tudyk of Wreck-It Ralph fame, Catherine Cavari from Dead End Paranormal Park, Zeno Robinson from Big Sea Greens, and also Sidney McCalla from Keeper of the Age of Wonder Beast, and also Zion Broadnax from Day Shift, Betty Laughing and John Briones from Ratched, and also Roy McCann from Game of Thrones, Cissy Jones for The Owl House, and Dietrich Bader from Better Things. I love this awesome show. I know it's awesome for me to understand that it takes inspiration from Keeper of the Age of Wonder Beasts. I know I love that cartoon, and imagine there was a Transformers Keeper crossover. That'd be awesome. But this new villain created for the series, because I know despite I need to tell you the truth about this new villain. This new villain called Mandroid is very interesting to tell you. I noticed Mandroid is basically your typical roboticizing scientist who wants to destroy all the Autobots and the Decepticons for real because of his hatred towards the Cybertronians. Although he's called Dr. Meridian Mandroid, I realized there's something that felt really off. Does he remind me of that one character from Slug Terror? The one episode called Mecha Mutiny. Oh, I get it. I remembered watching this episode called Mecha Mutiny. I remember this episode, and I saw wild mass guessing of the two characters I could think of. I noticed some guy I could find. I need to find some sort of guy who had a fear of slugs. Not Cord. No. Darius? Well, I can't find Mecha Mutiny, but I need to expand it and find the other one. I think I'll find... Which one? Slugbow? No. Oh, Robo-Slugs! Oh, I forgot it. I could easily relate... Dr. Quentin Kalowski... Wait a minute! Dr. Mandroid's real name is Dr. Quentin Kalowski? Very familiar. I found it kind of familiar to relate these two characters. So, what can I learn about that mass guessing? All I can say is Dr. Mandroid was originally a rogue scientist called Dr. Quentin Kalowski, who wanted to get rid of the slugs and replace them with robo-slugs. His goggles can scan slugs and roboticize them countlessly, making them to make a tougher slugger to beat. As a child, when Quentin went off to a field trip, he wandered off his phone and fell into a room full of slugs, and he had a fear of slugs because of his hatred towards the slugs. When he challenges them to battle each other in a Pacific Rim-style showdown, he finally shows himself the error of his ways and overcame his fear of slugs. Since Dr. Black offered him a job at Black Industries, but when he offered that job, he became Mandroid from the moment he saw an energon cube that fell from the sky, of what he didn't remember seeing it. For some reason, when he dipped his right hand into the hot chemical of that energon cube, it caused him to become completely scarred for life. Although his right arm would become a scar that would become forever infamous of giving himself a roboticized right arm. Sounds like how Edward lost his right arm in Fullmetal Alchemist. But for some reason he got a robotic prosthesis in the similar vein to that I could see. But I'm running out of time. So all I can say is bye-bye.